way, Jose.
Red I got you. Come subscribe, like. Come subscribe, like. Come subscribe, like. Come subscribe.
No way.
Red I got you. Alright, so today I am doing another Cobra Kai video, and today I'm just going to be talking about Season 3 and talking about all the things that I rewatched from the entire season. I'm going to be basically just continuing my marathon until the 15th when Part 2 comes out, so let's just get into it, honestly. Honestly, one of the first characters I wanted to talk about was Hawk, and not only because he's one of my favorite characters, but in this given season, he has probably the best arc, if not one of the best arcs in the whole season. I feel like Hawk has been keeping himself in a perpetual state of rage only because he was basically learning stuff from Creese all the way back in Season 2, and he thought to himself, well, the reason I did this to begin with was because in Season 1, I became a badass. I became Hawk. This persona, it's the thing that created me. It made me better. It made me stronger. And he wanted to maintain that, and he's still maintaining that. Now, the thing is, if he gets rid of that, he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what to do with himself. And the problem is, in Season 4, he has to sort of deal with that dilemma, and I'm going to talk about that once I reach Season 4, but just talking about the basics of it, he really has become the thing that he hated the most, the thing that he feared the most, a bully. Because at the end of the day, yeah, sure, like, he was able to, defeat Brooks and stuff like that, and he is one of the top dogs in Cobra Kai, but at the expense of Miguel, at the expense of Dimitri, at the expense of his old sensei, and his former friends, and his other former friends, and he just looks like an asshole, and the only person that he can really blame is himself. When you look at how easy it is to corrupt a individual using Cobra Kai, you can see how Daniel, Miguel, Robbie, Hawk are corrupted by Cobra Kai so easy. I could even say Johnny to some extent, because Johnny would probably be a normal human being and a normal kid. Like, honestly, if he was trained by Miyagi, he would actually be a really good guy and a really good student overall. And he would probably end up being friends with Daniel at some point in the series. He would probably be like a friend of his in the beginning, in the first movie, and support him throughout his endeavors and stuff like that. Like, he would actually be a good support system. But the problem is, he ends up being the biggest asshole in the entire movie because of his sensei, because of his teachings. Now, this is seen in a different light with Tori, because with Tori, she already had like a fire in her, like sort of a rage that always existed, but Cobra Kai just amplified that. Like, she's already dealing with the fact that her mom is sick, and Miguel cheated on her, but she was trying to make amends with him and stuff like that, since that's still her boyfriend. But then Miguel's acting as if she's crazy, so they broke up, and she was upset, and there was a whole thing of she didn't actually visit him in the hospital, so she felt some sort of anger towards him, still this resentment, but she didn't want to actually reveal that and like say it out loud, because she wanted to be loyal. She wanted to stick with him and try to resolve things. But at the end of the day, Miguel is not on that timing, and he's a good guy at the end of the day. Now, that doesn't mean that Tori's like the thing is, this season really makes Tori look like a cartoon villain, and that's why I kind of I didn't like her, and that really shows in my previous videos where I sort of critiqued a lot of what she did in Season 3, especially trying to hurt Sam again after the entire school fight, where you basically created, like, the cops had to show up and all this other stuff. Like, you created this whole karate war, and you have the nerve to be complaining about Miguel and Sam. It's just like, you need to hold yourself accountable for the stuff that you're doing as well, and I feel like she just didn't do that, especially in this season. And the same goes with Robbie. Like, Robbie has not taken accountability for a lot of the stuff that he's done, even though he has been wronged. And I will say that Robbie has probably gone through the most stuff in the entire show, and I will give him credit for the stuff that he says when he calls out Sam, when he calls out Miguel to some extent, and when he calls out Tori. The thing is, though, he did kick Miguel off the railing, and he did hide the Medal of Honor, so it's like he has done a lot of things that are unjustified and that are wrong. Also, when it comes to Season 1, I still think that he was technically flirting with Sam, like I've said in the other videos. And that leads me to believe that he kind of was the reason that all of this stuff is happening, along with Sam. I feel like Sam is mostly at fault, but I feel like Robbie shares that blame. And Miguel did get, very upset. Some people could say that he was overreacting, but I could understand seeing his point of view, given, the scenario. She sees this, like, Miguel saw Robbie having dinner with her family, and he wasn't able to do that. So, of course, he's going to be jealous, and you don't even tell Miguel that you're even doing this to begin with. You're just having dinner with this random dude that he doesn't even know, and it looks bad. Like, of course he's gonna get upset. Like, who wouldn't? But putting that to the side, I do understand why Robbie would be upset, especially when he confronts Miguel and Robbie after getting out of juvie and going through the worst thing he ever has in his entire life. You know, Miguel did as well, as they mentioned in season 5. They both went through traumatic things, and they tried to resolve it, you know, in that season, and they did. But in this season, it's like you really get to see them both go through it, and Miguel comes out in a better spot in life, and you really get to see him rekindle all the elements of his life that he thought he was going to lose. He got Sam back. He always had Johnny, but he was able to train with Johnny again and be able to do karate again. He was always friends with Dimitri, so that didn't really change. He lost Hawk in Cobra Kai as a whole, but you know, he gained Eagle Fang with Johnny, who is the person that he wanted to do karate with as a sensei to begin with, so it doesn't really matter. Because we even saw in season 2 that he was more so loyal to Johnny than he was Creese, so it doesn't even matter. Anyway, Hawk, I mean, he had his redemption arc, and then he switched back to Johnny, so it's like it doesn't really matter. I will say that this is the season where people start to actually sympathize with Robbie the most, and well, this and season 4, and I can understand why, because he goes through the most stuff that he ever has in his entire life. Because in season 1 and 2, he went through a lot, and he was basically ignored by not only the audience but the people in the show, and it's annoying because, you know, even though he does a lot of stupid crap, especially, you know, kicking Miguel off the railing and the Medal of Honor and the, you know, flirting with Sam, but like at the end of the day, he is provoked a lot of the time, and that is ignored. And it really shows with this season, because he loses Sam over something that's really stupid, and it's more so like a communication issue. But the problem is, Robbie just went through hell, and it's technically because of Sam, and the fact that Sam isn't willing to like work things out, or at least try to communicate with him better after he gets out of juvie, like at least wait a little bit, and it really almost proves Robbie right again, because I even said in the season 2 video that Robbie was technically right about them even wanting to get back together to begin with, just like how Miguel was right about Robbie technically being someone that Sam would actually want to be with, because she ends up getting with him after Miguel and Sam break up. So it's like he kind of was right, and so Miguel was right and Robbie were right when they were suspicious about Sam. And that's why, again, a lot of people hate Sam. A lot of people, you know, critique her character, because when you look at the situations that Miguel and Robbie are put in, they technically are both right. And that's why I love both of these characters. But at the end of the day, Robbie needs more respect, you know, overall. There's a very old quote that basically says, "The child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth." And basically what this means to me is, Robbie basically is the child, and he is the one who has been screwed over by the entire series, by everyone in the show. Miguel, Sam, Daniel, Johnny, Hawk, to some extent. Not necessarily Dimitri, but like Dimitri was never really like there for him the same way Robbie was there for Dimitri. Again, I don't really have much to say about Amanda or Carmen, and also when it comes to Aisha, Aisha is basically removed from the entire series at this point. I think she returns in season 4, but you know, that's about it. And you know, I did like her role in seasons 1 and 2, so I just wanted to mention that real quick. When it comes to Johnny and Daniel, I feel like fundamentally they understand that they have to team up and they have to do something against Creese and Cobra Kai as a whole, because those two actually understand how bad Creese is as a person and how evil he can be and how much influence he has over other people, and how conceptually bad his version of Cobra Kai is. Because again, it's not necessarily about Cobra Kai itself, it's about the person who controls Cobra Kai. And with Johnny, it was a lot better and it was a lot more nuanced, and he actually was a better sensei for not only Miguel, Hawk, but the other students as well. Like, he wasn't an evil person, and honestly, that's why Miguel even stayed loyal to him to begin with. Now, with Hawk, he's basically being corrupted by, you know, his own rage and his own anger, his own insecurities. If he wasn't, he actually probably would just go with Johnny again. I will have to mention though, Johnny and Daniel throughout this entire season are very annoying, like very freaking annoying. Especially with Daniel, who basically, at least in Robbie's mind, he abandoned Robbie and he just left him in juvie to suffer after abandoning him in season 2. Like, honestly, if you really look at Robbie's mind, Daniel technically abandoned him 3 times. Like, that is tragic. That genuinely is tragic. And I can understand why Robbie would join Cobra Kai because of stuff like that. This is the one season where I really wish characters would have just communicated with each other in a better manner, because like when I think about like Miguel and Robbie's scenario, it's like Miguel almost dies because Robbie kicked him off the railing, but he only kicked him off the railing because Miguel kissed his girlfriend and then beat the hell out of him. And it's like, at the end of the day, when you look at Robbie's mind, it's like, or think about what Robbie's going through. He was the one who got his arm like injured, and then he lost because Miguel cheated, and then Miguel cheats on his girlfriend by kissing his girlfriend, or Robbie's girlfriend, and then Robbie's trying to do all this, like he's trying to pull all these strings, like hiding the Medal of Honor, always being around Sam, trying to be there for her, always combating Cobra Kai, Miguel and stuff like that. It's like he's trying to do all this stuff, but at the end of the day, it meant nothing. It meant absolutely nothing. And he even was about to fight Tori because she was talking bad about Sam. It's like, this man Robbie was trying the entire time to just keep things together. Even in the season 2 finale, he was trying to get Tori off of her so that she could communicate with Sam. Like, he's not a bad guy at heart. Honestly, when it comes to Chosen, I do kind of want to segue into Chosen. I do think that he has one of the most interesting arcs in the series, with him wanting to sort of end himself because he feels really bad about what happened in Karate Kid 2. And it really just shows that, even though a person could be really bad, and almost you can call them evil to some extent, they still are a person and they still can change and stuff like that. And it really makes you think about the entire season, because it's like, well, you have characters like Creese who have gone through all this trauma, and he is a war veteran who is basically traumatized by the fact that his general tried to kill him, and that's why he sees the world as a war. And you can even see this in real life with actual soldiers who have shell shock, or just like traumatized in general, or have limbs blown off, or just something along those lines, or they're homeless, or just something traumatic that they've gone through, and you see just how much it just messes their mind up. So you can understand how Creese is really messed up as well. Overall, I feel like this entire season is basically just recovery. Like, everyone's recovering from season 2 and just all the traumatic stuff that happened, because like I said, even though season 2 is my favorite, it has one of the most depressing endings in the entire series, because everybody loses, like I said in the last video. If you did not see the last video, you should check that out. It just like, it really shows you like, not everyone is irredeemable, and some people actually can change even if they've done horrible things, and you really get to see that, honestly. And when you look at this entire season, everyone's recovering from what happened in season 2 because people did bad things. Like, everyone did something wrong in the school fight. Some people did something that's worse than others, but at the end of the day, everyone's responsible, and everyone is imperfect. And you really get to just see how everyone's imperfections just line up, and they sort of compare and contrast to the other. At the end of the day, when I rewatched this season, I think it's actually a lot better than I thought it was previously. I thought it was kind of like a filler season. It felt like a season where, Miguel is not able to do things, so therefore it's a bad season, or Robbie's out of commission as well, so it's a bad season, or Tori's front and center, so it's bad. Sam is front and center, so it's bad. But they focus on Johnny and Daniel. They brought in Chosen, who's a really interesting character, one of my favorites now, and they gave us a lot of Crease backstory. So that thought process really does not work actually under further analysis. And now I think it's a good time to actually end the video. So comment, subscribe, like, and let me know what you think of season 3. Maybe it's your favorite season, maybe it's your least favorite season. And yeah, I'm just going to continue with this marathon stuff and, make some more interesting videos, Cobra Kai related. And yeah, I'll see you guys later.
No way, Jose.
Red Hot Gotsy, come subscribe, like, come subscribe, like, come subscribe, like, come subscribe.